Welcome to Things You Don't Know. This is the second episode about cats. In part one, we covered where cats come from, how they talk, and what fills their tummies. Now let's tackle some big misconceptions about cats. Are they really the cold, unfeeling divas some make them out to be? Do they hate humans? Or are they secretly fond of us? And what's with the superstitions about black cats and 9 lives? And what healing powers might a cat have? We really need to talk about some of this stuff.
Cats have been around humans a long time, so it's no surprise that many legends and myths have sprung up about them. Some are very funny, some are unfair, and some are just plain wrong. Let's highlight a few common misconceptions about our feline friends and back it up with evidence. Myth meowsters, here we go. Let's start with the most common one. Cats are aloof and don't really love their owners. This one needs a firm swat off the table. Cats have a reputation for being independent to the point of indifference. The joke being that you only matter to your cat when you're opening a can. However, research shows what cat lovers always knew. Cats can form strong emotional bonds with their humans. In a study reminiscent of those done on human infants and on dogs, scientists found that the majority of cats, around 64%, showed what's called a secure attachment to their owner, meaning the cat uses the human as a source of safety and comfort.
You know, Cats also can give humans a lot. When I was a child in a crib, I'm still in the crib. My family got a cat that they called Midnight, but the cat, Midnight, chose me. That was my cat. And I didn't choose him. He chose me. I later chose him, but he would get into my crib and he would guard my crib and even uh, rat me out to my mother if I was trying to crawl out of the crib. I don't remember all of that exactly, but I've been told. But I do remember that I had a communication with him and knew when he wanted to go outside and play because he would meow or he would do a different kind of a signal. And I remember one time being out in the yard and this German Shepherd, a big dog, came onto our front property there and started becoming rather menacing and growling. And I looked around for Midnight. I didn't see him. I thought he had run away, but no, 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 no. He had circled around behind this dog while the dog was distracted by me. And suddenly, like a black panther out of striking like a bolt of lightning, he jumped on that dog, wrapped his claws around that dog's throat, and bit the dog's ear off. Yeah, the dog chose to depart the property, shall we say. Another time, it was actually my son's cat, Chloe. She would tell me if my blood sugar was out of whack, and she would just set up a caterwaul until I did something about it. So it's not a one-way street. It really is a two-way street. And there are some other things too. Wait till we talk to you about purring. Just wait.
Oregon State did a very interesting study when they saw cats that were briefly separated and then reunited with their person, the cats greeted them and then felt relaxed enough to explore the room. That's a classic sign of what people call secure attachment. It basically means I'm happy you're here. Now I feel safe to do my own thing. Only about 35% of these cats were insecurely attached, displaying either avoidance or cleanliness. This is very similar to the pattern seen in dogs and in human babies. So, yes, cats can certainly love you. They just might show it in different ways than a dog. Some cats are cuddlers, following you from room to room. Our family cat, Isis, will do that. She will escort people when they get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Others might be not be lap cats, but they will hang out in the same room as you or give you those slow blinks of affection we mentioned in part one. Moreover, studies have found that cats actively prefer human interaction in many cases. One experiment offered cats a choice. They could have toys, scents, food, or human socialization. And many cats chose to spend time with a friendly human over even the prospect of food. And in shelter settings, cats were found to spend significantly more time with people who paid attention to them versus people who ignored them. As researcher Christian Vitale put it, cats spend significantly more time with people who are paying attention to them than people who were ignoring them. In short, if you think your cat is distant, try being more engaging, see how they respond. Cats have personalities too. Some are more reserved, but plenty are outright affectionate. Michael Delgado summed it up very well. When we are attentive to cats, they are interested. It's not that they are aloof, they just want choice. Give them love on their terms, and you'll often find a very loving creature in that furry body. So the next time someone tells you cats just don't care about the humans, you can tell them science begs to differ, or maybe even that your cat has you well trained in the arts of love.
Indeed. Another myth: cats are totally independent and don't need humans at all. Hey, here's the reality. It's related to myth one, but let's clarify it. Yes, cats are more independent than many other pets. They don't need walks. They can be left alone longer, and they often like having their own space. But domestic cats are not solitary loners by rule, and they do rely on us for care, social interaction, and enrichment. Feral cats, even feral cats, they often form social colonies when food is plentiful, like groups of females that cooperatively raise kittens. They aren't pack animals in the dog sense, but they can have friendships or at least amicable coexistence with other cats. With humans, cats often enjoy our company, even if it's subtle. Think of the cat that just has to sit on your laptop while you work, not because they need something, but perhaps because they enjoy being near you. And okay, the laptop is warm. One scientific misconception for years was that cats are asocial. Now we know that cats can be quite social. They just socialize differently. They may not greet you with wagging tails. Well, they do greet us with their tails up in their way, but they might follow you from room to room like a silent shadow, or headbutt your hand, or nap touching your foot. These are signs of companionship. Also, while cats could survive without humans, like by hunting, pet cats depend on us for food and health. An indoor cat literally needs you to open the can. Emotionally, many pets get very attached. Anyone who's had a cat meow at the door or mope when their person is on vacation has seen this. very recent example of this. Um, my sister went out early in the morning for an appointment, and the cat just started meowing and going a little while, going to the window and sitting there and watching for a while. Yeah, he knew she had left for a while. So cats can even experience separation anxiety. So independent? Well, to a degree, sure. But they're not small autonomous robots. They're domesticated animals that have adapted to live with us and often seek out our affection and help. Saying cats don't need humans is like saying roommates sharing an apartment don't need each other. Maybe not for survival, but life is nicer when you're around. One adorable example, cats often bring toys to their owners, almost like they treat us as family. They want to feed or play with. Independence with a side of interdependence. That's the cat way.
You can't train a cat is the next myth. If by train you mean make a cat heel like a dog, well, cats have different priorities, but they absolutely can be trained. Training a cat requires understanding what rewards they value. Many cats can learn their names, to come when called, sit, high five, ring a bell for treats, etc. Clicker training, common with dolphins and dogs, works with cats too. Also, when it comes to household rules, you can teach a cat not to scratch the couch, provide a scratching post, and reward them for using it, while making the couch unattractive via covers or scents. Or, now this is harder, not to jump on the counter. This is tougher because cats are natural climbers, and a determined cat will often outwit your best efforts. But they can learn boundaries. You just might test them because, hey, free will. The key is consistency and not using punishment. Cats do not understand punishment well. They either become very afraid or ignore you. If you ever yelled at a cat and watched them yawn, they don't do guilt like dogs do. Instead, redirect and reward. The bottom line, cats can learn. They're smart, but convincing them it's worth the effort is the trainer's challenge.
Indeed, a little trick. If your cat is jumping on the counter or jumping, Badu here, he wanted to jump on in the bathroom closet there. He would want to jump on. It was an open closet. Jump on the towels and make a little nest in there. I fixed that real easy. Was with a piece of Christmas wrapping paper. Cats don't like that, and they won't. He won't. He doesn't jump on it anymore. So yes, and I usually do train my cats to do a lot of different things, such as come, sit, turn in a circle, jump through hoops. It's really very easy.
As Dr. Branshaw quipped, cats can learn many things, but they're just not as keen to show their owners what they've learned. So don't let anyone tell you a cat is untrainable. Tell them about that cat that can do high fives on command, or the one that use human toilets. Yes, that's a thing some dedicated owners teach, although I wouldn't. Mr. Jenks from Meet the Parents wasn't completely fiction. Just be patient and have treats ready.
Another myth: cats have 9 lives. Reality is quite different. Cats are agile and they have an uncanny ability to get themselves out of trouble sometimes. They can land on their feet thanks to a righting reflex. They twist in midair and orient themselves feet down, and this spares them often from short falls. But they are not invincible. The 9 lives myth likely comes from their remarkable survival in risky situations. For example, cats have survived falls from incredible heights. There are reports of cats falling from high rise buildings and, if they land just right, walking away with minor injuries. There's even a phenomena called high rise syndrome, where vets see cats that fell from apartments. Interestingly, falls from higher floors can be safer than from mid floors because the cat has time to adjust posture and spread like a flying squirrel, which slows their fall down. But trust me, many cats do get severely injured from falls. Gravity sucks. It's real. 9 lives are not. Cats can also get very sick, have accidents, etc., like any creature. So this myth is more metaphorical. Don't test it. The upside, cats are quite resilient. They often recover from scrapes that might sideline other animals. Still, each cat has just one precious life. Our job is to keep them safe, indoors or in secure environments, so they don't use up that one life too quickly.
You're right on. This next one is the one I dislike the most. Black cats are bad luck. Poor black cats have the most unfair reputation. This goes back to medieval Europe when black cats became associated with witchcraft. Check out our Wiccan podcast to learn more about that. Folklore at the time depicted witches turning into black cats, or even cats serving as witches' familiars. This stigma stuck, and even today, black cats have lower adoption rates in some places just because of silly superstition. The truth is, a black cat is like my Isis, is just a cat with a cool monochrome coat. They are no more or less naughty than any other cat. In fact, in many cultures, black cats are considered good luck. British and Irish sailors believed the black cat on board the ship ensured a safe journey. In Japanese folklore, a black cat can ward off evil. And in ancient Egypt, cats of all colors, including black, were sacred. So whether a black cat crossing your path is good or bad luck entirely depends on which old tale you believe. But scientifically, it's just crossing your path because it has somewhere to go, probably to find food or a comfortable nap spot. Shelters sometimes put a moratorium on black cat adoptions around Halloween, but that's more to prevent pranksters from adopting them for the wrong reasons. If you're considering adopting, please give black cats a chance. Many owners will tell you that they are the most affectionate and playful companions. I can vouch for this. As a bonus, they look super sleek and panther like. The only bad luck might be them tripping you in the dark because you can't see them underfoot. In the broader sense, cats have accumulated various superstitions. For example, in some places, people thought cats could steal a baby's breath. Totally false. They might curl up next to a warm baby, but they're not suffocating anyone intentionally. Or that a groom seeing a black cat on his wedding day is blessed. Hey, that one's positive. There's even a historical myth that cats could start storms at sea. Sailors were both oddly fearful and reverent of ship cats. These are all colorful stories with no basis in fact. The only magic cats have is their ability to charm us and maybe lower our blood pressure with their purring.
You mentioned black cats, and indeed, Badu is a black cat, and I often call him because I do talk to him a lot. I often call him or tell him tu es un panthère visois. You're a vicious panther, and he likes it. He
I could see
likes
why he would.
So here's another myth. Cats hate humans and they're basically just selfish. Okay, reality. That's just another version of the aloof myth, often perpetuated by comedic or memes like Grumpy Cat's eternal scowl comes to mind. Let's put this way. If cats truly hated humans, they wouldn't live with us. Remember, domestic cats chose to hang around people thousands of years ago, and that's according to Scientific American. They have co evolved with us. And studies have even found that cats can read human facial expressions to an extent and adjust their behavior. For instance, many cats seem to know when we're sad or sick and may offer more closeness or purring. I have witnessed that time and time again. Cats also often mirror the personalities of their owners. A calm owner, calm cat. High strung owner, possibly a high strung cat. They're tuned in more than we think. Selfish? No, no. They're just self reliant. They don't fawn, but they do have social needs. They might not greet you at the door by jumping up, although some of them do, but maybe they'll hop onto the couch next to you pretty soon. They show love by grooming us, licking your hand or hair, a high honor if you've been accepted into their family. Badu, in a funny twist of that, demands that I groom him periodically. He needs to be combed. He likes it, and he changes his position so that I can get to all the spots. It's really quite hilarious. You know, they also do rubbing and marking us, and also by sleeping near us or with us. Licking is also a sign of marking you as part of their family. These are all signs that your cat likes you. Could it be conditional love? Well, sure, in a sense, just as love can be conditional amongst humans. Treat them well, they'll stick around. Be mean to them, and they're likely to leave or act out. But that's true of any relationships. So, no, cats don't secretly despise us. If they did, they have a funny way of constantly sleeping on our clothes and purring on our chests. Kind of sounds more like adoration, not hate.
Here, here. We've busted a bunch of myths here, and the takeaway from it all is cats are often misunderstood. Many traits people think of just how cats are turn out to be flexible or misinterpreted. Aloofness can mean I'm shy or I need you to respect my space first. Independence doesn't mean they won't miss you when you're gone. And superstition has no place in how we treat actual living cats. Every cat, like every human, is an individual. Some are divas, some are cuddlebugs, some are just goofy clowns. Getting to know them on their own terms is the joy of being a cat parent.
Let's look at another aspect: religious connections. There is no major religion that exclusively worships cats. Still, there are spiritual or religious movements and communities today that revere cats or include them in symbolic or mystical ways. Some of the neo pagan and Wiccan traditions, uh, they honor animals, including cats, as sacred beings or familiars, spiritual companions. Cats are often associated with the goddess Bastet, as we mentioned in part one, or some people call it Bast, the ancient Egyptian cat goddess of home, fertility, and protection. And some modern pagans do still venerate her.
Hermeticism is a modern religion that revives the ancient Egyptian pantheon and practices. Practitioners may worship Bastet and give special status to cats, seeing them as both sacred and spiritually significant. I have a friend who's a modern day Zoroastrian. He explains their faith sees cats as serving as human conscience, reporting to the Almighty Ahura Mazda on the behavior and ultimate destiny of their humans.
Well, in the Shinto, in Japanese Shintoism, while not a cat worshiping religion, Animals, including cats, can be seen as messengers of spirits or kami, divine beings. The Manikiniko beckoning cat figure, though more folk belief than formal Shinto, reflects a cultural reverence for cats as bringers of good fortune. Some groups, like the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster or the Cat Cult communities online, playfully or satirically center cats in their beliefs. These are not usually meant to be taken literally as spiritual systems, but do reflect the cultural elevation of cats.
While it's well known that cats are respected in Islam, there's a lesser known story that the Prophet Muhammad once cut off a portion of his robe rather than disturb his cat Mezuzah, who was sleeping on it. In folklore, some even say that cats were gifted the ability to always land on their feet as a divine favor due to their cleanliness and devotion.
Everyone knows, or many people know, about Freya's chariot being pulled by cats, but not everyone knows that in some Norse traditions, witches were said to have cats as fetches or spirits who could travel between worlds. These feline companions helped them in divination and spell work, reinforcing the deep mystical bond between women and cats in pre Christian Scandinavia.
Going back to the Shinto belief for a minute, the sun goddess Amaterasu is central, but lesser known temple legends in rural Japan speak of white cats that guard sacred Shinto shrines. These sun cats are said to bask in the light as offerings to Amaterasu and serve as spiritual protectors, similar to the way dogs guard Buddhist temples.
Ancient Celts believed in a spectral cat called the cat Sith, a black feline spirit with a white spot on its chest. Reminds me of my cat Midnight, who had a white diamond on his chest, and he was entirely black otherwise. It was believed by the Celts to steal souls before they reached the afterlife. To prevent this, people would watch over the deceased's body and keep the cat Sith away. It's an eerie mix of reverence and fear.
There's a little bit more about Zoroastrianism. It's one of the world's oldest religions, and it views fire as sacred. Cats were protectors of the fire temples, not just because they kept away mice who could chew on parchment and wood, but because of their clean nature. There's a myth that Ahura Mazda gifted cats their sharp night vision in order to enable them to protect holy places after dark and escort virtuous souls to paradise.
While Bastet is the commonly known feline goddess in Egypt, there's a minor myth involving a cat version of the goddess Sekhmet, who is said to chase and eat the moon during lunar eclipses to keep it from turning into a demon. This story was sometimes acted out by priests to explain celestial events to the public.
In some Ashkenazi folktales, a cat appears to outwit or tame the Golem of Prague. Though not canonical, these tales suggest that cats had a kind of spiritual immunity or innate cleverness even against powerful supernatural beings. In some versions, a rabbi's cat becomes the moral compass or the guide to the golem.
Another interesting and perhaps important scientific issue is the effects of a cat's purring. Now, we did cover some aspects of purring in part one, but scientific studies have shown there is more to this issue. A cat's purr typically vibrates at frequencies between 25 and 150 hertz, and research suggests that vibrations in this range can promote tissue regeneration and bone healing. I mean, there have been many studies, especially in veterinary and biomechanics fields, that have shown that vibrations in that range stimulate bone density and encourage soft tissue repair, reduce swelling, and even help with pain relief. And I can testify to the veracity of that. Here's a breakdown of why. Vibrations in the 25 to 50 hertz range have been shown to promote bone growth and healing. It is said that a cat that consistently purrs on a broken arm, for example, causes the repair time of the bone to be reduced from 6 to 8 weeks to less than that, 4 to 6. Muscle and tendon repair frequencies in the 150 hertz range may support soft tissue healing and reduce inflammation. Stress reduction, purring, not only calms the cat, but may lower blood pressure and reduce stress hormones in nearby humans, creating a calming effect that indirectly aids healing.
This is very interesting to me. NASA explored the use of low frequency mechanical stimulation to reduce bone loss in astronauts, and frequencies in the 20 to 50 hertz range were found to increase bone density and cellular regeneration, aligning very closely with purring frequencies. The Journal of the Acoustical Society of America explored animal generated frequencies and their potential physiological impact, highlighting the purring of felines as a unique, possibly evolved adaptation for long term health and injury prevention.
Getting back to this frequency business, some ancient temple pillars and architectural elements were designed either intentionally or accidentally to resonate at similar low frequencies. They have found that in particular meditation rooms of some very old churches and Buddhist temples and other places those pillars vibrate at those frequencies. And that frequency, they have demonstrated this, does make a change in the human brain. You can see that it would make it easier for people to meditate and to perhaps have a more positive mental frame. In the Vitala temple in Hampi, India, they have stone pillars which can emit specific tones when gently tapped. Some pillars resonate at frequencies below 200 hertz, and several resonate within the 25 to 100 hertz range, overlapping the purring frequencies. It's speculated that these vibrations may have had a ritualistic or therapeutic value, especially in healing or meditation rituals.
Now, in the Kalyasa temple in the Ellora caves in India, that temple's carved from a single rock. So the temple's chambers and stone columns are thought to enhance specific acoustic frequencies, again in the sub 200 hertz range. These frequencies, especially in enclosed spaces, may have created resonant vibrations that influence mood or healing. Some have argued, some acoustic researchers claim, that the king's chamber in the Great Pyramid of Giza resonates naturally around 30 to 40 hertz. Though speculative, this falls within the same healing vibration range as cat purrs. Intriguing given the pyramid's association with preservation and afterlife care. I know my sister Kelly visited that pyramid, and she said she had an overwhelming sense of peace, so I'm inclined to believe it.
So, what does all this show? Well, there's a striking overlap between the low frequency vibrations of cat purring and the resonant frequencies engineered or at least present in some ancient sacred spaces. Both ranges are associated in modern research with bone density improvements, muscle relaxation, and even mental stress reduction. Wildcats evolved this internally. Ancient builders may have used architecture to harness the same beneficial effects externally for human ritual and healing.
We hope that you have learned a few things and have had a perfectly good time, to paraphrase Eartha Kitt, in this exploration of myths and factoids about cats. Thanks for listening, and please come back soon. If you don't, your cat may swat you.
Yeah. It was fun and interesting for us as always. And hey, please, give a like. It is really quite important. And subscribe. That is also important. It doesn't cost you a dime and you're not going to get harassed or anything like that. We'd also like to hear from you. So leave a comment, please. Bye for now.
Goodbye, folks.